The White House is denying that politics played a role of any kind in the president's decision to keep the U.S. Space Command headquarters in Colorado instead of moving it to Alabama. And while many suspect that Alabama's pro-life laws, along with Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville's stand against the Pentagon's unlawful abortion policies, people are saying, some are saying that had nothing to do with it. Others are saying that had everything to do with it. White House National Security spokesperson John Kirby said that it all boiled down to operational readiness, pure and simple. Well, should we believe that? Well, joining me now to discuss this and more is Congressman Rich McCormick. He serves on the House Armed Services Committee, as well as the Foreign Affairs Committee and the Committee on Science, Space, and Technology. He's a master at all of this. He's also a decorated veteran and an emergency physician who represents the 6th Congressional District of the great state of Georgia. Dr. McCormick, welcome back to Washington Watch. Great to see you.
Great to see you too, Jody.
Well, thank you so much. All right, let's jump into this. The fact is Huntsville scored much higher than Colorado Springs, according to the Government Accountability Office and the criteria that they had. In fact, the top 3 choices for the Space Command headquarters were all in red states. There was Alabama, Nebraska, and Texas. Colorado didn't even come close. So what do you make of the White House's claim that the deciding factor here is all operational readiness, pure and simple?
Well, this isn't the first time we've been misled by the president, certainly. It won't be the last time either, unfortunately. I think we're definitely playing politics. I think that the fact is that Alabama is the right place to be. He doesn't like it because it has pro-life legislation there, because he has a certain senator he doesn't like right now, and I think that's what he's doing right now. But in the end, I really want to make sure that we honor the Science, Space, and Technology Committee, as well as the space program, that we're keeping people safe and sound. This too shall pass. So we're going to have other presidents. Hopefully we get this righted over time. But on the big scheme of things, I think we'll get over it.
Well, we will get over it in the long term. I certainly agree with that. But right now, it's a headache. And the thing that really bothers me is the Biden administration in recent weeks has been talking a lot about readiness. And you know, what's your take on the actions of this administration? And I'll specify the actions of this administration versus the words of this administration as it pertains to military readiness.
When they talk about readiness, they're talking about wokeness. Their idea of readiness is getting people divided over racial lines, making sure that people are focused on the wrong things. Their idea of readiness has nothing to do with what I think is readiness. When we talk about readiness in the Marine Corps, we talk about our ability to locate, close with, and destroy the enemy through fire and maneuver, or to repel the enemy's assault through fire and close combat. That's readiness. That's what we should be training for. Unfortunately, a lot of the military training now is focused around identifying people by what they look like, what their religion is, what their gender is, all the things that divide us rather than the things that unite us. When I was in the Marine Corps, it was all about shades of green, and we all bled red, and we all had a mission to accomplish, and that's all that mattered. Were you prepared to do that? This administration has showed that they are focused on anything but that, unfortunately, and that's hurting recruiting. It's one of the reasons that my oldest son recently decided he was not going to apply for the Marine Corps, because he doesn't like where the military is going. He doesn't like the way that the Biden administration is focused on the wrong things, and quite frankly, doesn't want to put his life on the line if that's their focus.
Yeah, and it's those things that you just bring to light that really impacts the readiness of our military. It is not these other. Let me give you throw this ball your way. American readiness, I believe, and I believe you would agree, has certainly declined. On the other hand, China continues to increase their readiness dramatically. In your opinion, has this administration taken its eye off the ball?
100%. If you look at it, I just made a bet with the Sergeant Major of the Army last year over the recruitment goals. They stated they were going to make the recruitment goals. I knew because of the climate of the military, we were not going to. He owes me 100 push-ups. I'm going to collect on that for sure. We definitely aren't ready in the Marine Corps with our amphibious assault shipping. We are definitely underfunded when it comes to upgrading our military. We're underprepared to prepare if we go into a ship building war. Right now, they have about 25 times more capacity to build the largest aircraft carriers and submarines than we do. They've invested in their military. They've upgraded their military. They're at least even with us, if not ahead of us in cyber warfare. And we have a long ways to go when it comes to this new enemy that's really trying to outpace us, investing heavily in their military capabilities and espionage and spy and stealing our technology left and right. We're educating some of their best students and then sending them back to China. We're not taking this seriously at all.
Well, frankly, I wish that was one bet that you had lost, but I'm with you. I'm not at all surprised that we lost that. I mean, the recruiting has been horrible, and there's reasons for that, just as you illustrated with your own son. But it's not just the military threat that's coming from China. They are posing threats in so many other areas. And I wanted to get your take on this. I'm sure you saw it recently discovered in California was an Undercover Bio Lab that reportedly contained mice that were engineered to spread COVID. I mean, and by the way, it was in an area right beside our a huge Navy base there. So you can just imagine if these mice get on an aircraft carrier, for example, and China wants to invade Taiwan. I mean, the consequences of this type of thing, it's unbelievable. And China is doing all this stuff. What's your reaction to that biolab?
Well, this goes back to, first of all, the origins of the coronavirus, where it came from. You can see that Anthony Fauci absolutely lied when he was talking about the origins. We saw the email trails. We've seen the science behind this. Look, I'm an ER doc. I've served during the entire pandemic. I know basic science, and this is basic science. We know the Wuhan lab was planning to study this and develop it. They got out of control. Whether it was on purpose or not, we don't really know, but we do know that they destroyed evidence. They did not allow us to go in and have a proper investigation. People disappeared. There is no evidence of any reservoirs of this disease in any dog species, cat species, bat species, or any other species, despite Herculean efforts by the Chinese government to obtain exactly that. Now we find this lab in California with dead mice, infected mice, all kinds of syringes and disease process, everything from herpes to coronavirus. This is going to be a very interesting investigation. It just came out. I think we're not done with the investigation. I'm very much interested to see if the special subcommittee on coronavirus gets to actually have a hearing with these people investigating that lab and seeing what they're actually up to. And if they do get linked to the Chinese government, what we're going to do as repercussions to punish the Chinese government for all the egregious things they've done to not only the United States, but the entire world. They need to be held accountable.
Absolutely. Well, listen, our time is rapidly getting away from us. But before I let you go, you served personally in Afghanistan. It was this month 2 years ago that we all witnessed the Biden administration's botched withdrawal from the country. And last week, the Foreign Affairs Subcommittee that you serve on had a hearing examining this. Real quickly, can you tell us what you heard? What stood out in that hearing?
The one thing that really stood out to me is how many senior level military people actually said, this is not a good idea. The way we're executing this is wrong. It's going to end poorly. And yet the Biden administration totally ignored it. Multiple military officials that are not even named so far have been cited as these anonymous emails that have been blacked out. But we know that over 20 senior military officials were against the way it was going to be executed. We had several actually testify in front of us, including special force guys. And they literally told their commanding officers that this is a bad idea. It was going to go poorly. I'll tell you, when I witnessed what happened from far, far away, it was one of the worst days, quite frankly, in my entire life. I was emotional. It was horrible to watch. 5 of the young men who died that day were the same age as my own son. And I hate to see that. We need to have better accountability, and that plan was absolutely horrible, and it starts at the top.
Thank you, Congressman Dr. Rich McCormick. We appreciate you joining us on the program this evening.